Hello, Mr. B. I hope you're doing fine. I am completely sick, and I hope you will forgive my croaky and low voice. Today I'm going to talk to you about Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird, which was published in 1960. I'm going to talk about the themes, the author, the literary and cultural contexts, and as well as the style. So, and I forgot to say that Yachena and I are not together because I couldn't join her. She doesn't respond to my meos, and I don't have any ways other than that to communicate with her, so I hope you will forgive this as well as the lateness of this publication. So, Nell Harper Lee was born in Monroeville in Alabama on the 28th of April 1926 and died on the 19th of February 2016 in Monroeville as well. Her major work are To Kill a Mockingbird and Go Set a Watchman. They are actually her only works, though she participated in the writing of In Cold Blood by Truman Capote in 1966. Truman Capote, which was one of her closest friends. In 2015, Go Set a Watchman was published, and Go Set a Watchman is said to be an early draft of To Kill a Mockingbird, which won the Pulitzer Prize in the 1970s, and in 2007 she won the Presidential Medal of Freedom for her contribution to literature, even though she had only published one book. So that is it. That's quite it for the author. For the literary and cultural context, it was published in just after the Second World War, not just after, but 15 years after the end of the Second World War. It is in the contemporary period, and as I said in my last screencast, postmodernism. It is a postmodern book. It focuses on the exteriority and on the reader rather than on the author. And we can see that because the narrator of the story, Scout, or Jean-Louise Finch, talks directly to the reader and treats him or her like a third confidant. And as I said, when I compared to postmodernism to modernism, postmodern authors are ambivalent towards realism, and Harper Lee decided to go towards realism, and when she tells the story of something that happened in her hometown, Monroeville, in 1936 when she was 10 years old. It was published during the Cold War, and there was still a lot of segregation, and the fight for the civil rights was starting to grow as a real movement, and more and more people were joining it. For the themes, I have two slides. The first is on the coexistence of good and evil. The main question about this theme is, are people essentially good or evil? This is the question that drives Scout towards the book, and it drives her evolution, I would say. It permits her to grow as a person as she understands more and more about the evilness and goodness in the world. I will read two quotes from two literary analysis on the themes. So the first one is: the novel approaches this question by dramatizing Scout and Jem's transition from a perspective of childhood innocence, in which they assume that people are good because they have never seen evil, to a more adult perspective in which they have confronted evil and must incorporate it into their understanding of the world. So I found that, or Spark Notes as it is written, and I thought it really summarized really what I thought about this theme. So as they grow, as Jem and Scout grow, they realize that people are not essentially good. Not essentially, but people are not necessarily good people, and that good and evil can coexist in one individual, not of course in a society as a whole, but also in one person. And I found another one that is really interesting on Britannica. So, To Kill a Mockingbird is both a young girl's coming-of-age story and a darker drama about the roots and consequences of racism and prejudice, probing how good and evil can coexist within a single community or individual, as I was saying. The other one is the existence of social inequalities in a society, and it is demonstrated by the overcomplicating Macomb hierarchy. We can see in this quote from Spark Notes again: ignorant country farmers like the Cunninghams lie below the townspeople, and the white trash eels rest below the Cunninghams. But the black community in Macomb, despite its abundance and admirable qualities, squats below even the eels, enable Bob Eel to make up for his own lack of importance by persecuting Tom Robinson. So we can see that in this quote that it is highly hierarchized. So the Macomb society is highly hierarchized. It is that the hierarchy is really important to all its people, and Scout is at the top of this. Well, Scout's family is at the top of this hierarchy, so it is not easy for her to understand how the Cunninghams and the Tom Robinson and all that feel, since she is really privileged. For the style, I found again a quote that really resumed my thought about the style. The style of To Kill a Mockingbird is generally humorous and conversational, but also deceptively sophisticated, which reflects the mix of straightforward storytelling and complicated ideas. Because the book is framed as the recollection of the narrator, the opening pages use complex elevated language, brethren, dictum, impotent fury, and it is not stated in here, but it continues to be like that. The narrator uses a more complex vocabulary, but still slides really simple and really straightforward statements. One that I could state would be, one that I could quote would be, Mrs. DeBose was plain as hell. It is really slightly vulgar and a bit, totally straightforward. So that is it for my presentation. I hope you liked it, and I hope it will be satisfactory. I hope you have a good day and Merry Christmas.